most recent just happened yesterday. Miley Cyrus came out and she declared that she's now gender fluid, which means you can kind of go wherever you want with the gender thing. And she said, quote, "You can just be whatever you want to be." And that sounds kind of neat and liberating, but the fact is you can't. Like, you just can't. I can't be LeBron James. I mean, I'd love to. Sometimes my kids think I'm that good, but I'm really not. You can't be whatever you want to be. You know, you're not the creator, you are the creation. And any type of false liberation that's built upon something other than the truth of what we are is not going to lead to freedom. It's going to lead to disillusionment and ultimately a slavery to a myth instead of embracing what God has truly made us to be. Now, with Bruce Jenner coming out, first with Diane Sawyer and then as Caitlyn Jenner, you know, what happened in Hollywood is basically a secular canonization of this man. Just overnight, he became almost the saint of Hollywood. Like, my goodness, isn't this wonderful? And he's so brave and he's so courageous. Now, Steve Harvey, who's a Hollywood comedian guy, they asked him, "What do you think about it?" And he says, "Look, I know it's the politically correct thing to say that it's the bravest thing you've ever seen, but I just don't get it. I can't come home to my wife and kids and make that announcement. It just isn't going to fly." And so he was probably the rare exception of someone saying, "Look, I just don't understand this." And as difficult as this is, and people want to just jump on it and say, well, the Christians say this and these people say that, there's some positives in this that we need to take away. And one of them is the transgender issue is real. And the people that experience this are real people. And they have suffered tremendously. Their suicide rate is astronomical. And they need to not live in the shadows anymore. That they need to know there's a home for you in the Catholic Church, that God loves you, that God has a plan for you. Because so often people who struggle with this issue or homosexuality, because gender is distinct from sexuality, will think there's no place for me. I can either hide in the closet out of fear that if anyone knew me, they would hate me and be bigoted against me, or come out and embrace my new identity and forget God and the Bible and everything else. So those are my choices: gay pride or gay shame, or transgender pride or transgender shame. But why should they live in shame? Because if you have this inclination, or you have this desire, or you have this feeling, that's not a choice. Why should you feel ashamed of something you do not choose? Whether it's a sexual attraction or a sexual identity, you haven't made that particular choice. And so I think we first need to let these people know that whatever feelings you have, God doesn't hate you for having those feelings. God loves you and He has a plan for you. And so I think it's important with what Jenner has done of bringing this to a higher level of cultural awareness. And it's going to get pretty dicey for sure, because now we've got teenage boys walking into girls' bathrooms saying, "I want to go in the girls' locker room because I identify as female." And when the girls in the locker room and their parents say, "We don't like this," they're treated like they're hateful bigots. Well, you're closed-minded. Or some boy wins the prom queen contest because he wants to dress up as a girl. But I think what's going to get interesting is, let's say I decide that I'm a woman, and I've had these feelings for a long time. I'm a transgender woman, and I rape a woman. Okay, what jail do you send me to? Are you going to send me to a male prison or a female prison? If I stand before the judge and say, "Look, I have male parts, but I have a female soul," what is the judge going to say to me? He's going to say, "Well, we're going to send your male parts to a male prison, and you can send your female soul wherever you're going to go." And what's interesting here is if someone who identifies as transgender does something praiseworthy, they excel at sports or academics, they're going to be praised for the gender that they have chosen. But if they do something poor, you know, they rape somebody, they will be punished according to their biological sex. And so I think it's going to create all kinds of strange double standards that the society is going to have to begin to wrestle with now that we're coming up with all these new definitions of male and female. How many different kinds of restrooms are we going to have in the end? And society is going to wrestle when we begin to embrace something that's not rooted in the truth of who